Hello guys, today in this video I will be telling you how you can implement AI in your website, and for that we are going to be using my repository from GitHub, and I will be explaining you in this video. I will be explaining you the whole code that I have made to make it work. So you can just copy everything if you just want your website to use it. So now, how do we use it? So what's the problem when we actually use an AI in our web page? The problem is basically that whenever we build an AI chatbot, sometimes the AI chatbot just hallucinates, or it can just go very off topic. So in order to fix that, we are also going to be implementing RAG, retrieval augmented generation, if you want it. So let's just say if I have a website that displays every law that a country has. For example, I have this website Explore Singapore, and I want to ask it what is the law for child safety. So in order to get the exact information, I would be using the publicly government available PDF to get it. And how I'm gonna do it is let me show you how it works. So let's just ask him, tell me how safe is Singapore for children. Let's just ask it that, and as you can see, it is now giving us the answer. Because the most safest country city in the world for children, low crime rates, strict laws. As you can see, it is not hallucinating, it is providing us the accurate information. Let's just ask it that, and it should actually pull out a government PDF. As you can see, there are 3 PDFs. As you can see, there are 3 PDFs that is pulled out from the government website, and it's working pretty fine if you ask me. So how do we implement this in our own website? So first of all, you have to go in my repository, right in my repository, and in my repository you would have to find this backend logic, and in there you will find this app.py. You have to download it, and it should look like this in here, right? This is the exact same file that is available on GitHub on my repository. So let's just see what does this code do. So for this video, I will be running it on my local machine, and I have separate videos on how to convert your PDFs to vectors. So let's just get ahead, and I will be explaining you the code fast so that we don't waste any more time. So if I'm running it locally, I would be inputting OS. Okay, so we can talk to our computer's operating system. Mainly, what we are using this to is to grab our secret API keys as stored in this environmental variable. I'm sure you would know why we are importing this, so I'm not going to tell you that. And numpy, we are importing numpy because this actually deals with the heavy math that is going on behind the scenes, right? Now, what is this Flask, if you ask me? This is the actual web server, right? It is the web server. This is what actually turns our Python script into a live API that actually we can talk to. Okay, now what is this course? This stops our browser from this stops browser from blocking our request from the front end. Right? From front end. When a front end tries to call to this backend, usually browsers stop because of security, so we are going to be bypassing that by using this. And since I'm doing it locally, I would be also importing .env to just use this env file. This file is actually having all the API keys, and the format of this file is also in the repository. As you can see, this is the code. All you have to do is put your Gemini key here, your OpenRocker key here, or your Chrome key here. After that, we have import this. This is the Gemini library, right? Okay, now this is the OpenAI library. This is the OpenAI library, and this is actually our database, vectors database. And I have told you in my previous video how to build vectors. Basically, this is actually our file format for the vector database. Right. Think of it as a high-speed library index that can find the right code snippet in milliseconds. Right. Okay, and what is this actually? This is actually the thing which converts our response into numbers, basically vector. So, and this is just initializing our API keys. Now, what is this load.nav? Basically, this is to just communicate with this environmental file so that our API keys will be loaded. Now, what does this go to? What did I do? Now, what does this go to? Actually, we are using a free model, right? A free model known as all-mini LM6v2. Okay, we are going to be using this to basically convert our response into numbers, more specifically vectors. Okay, so as this model is small and fast, we can actually run it locally. And what does this folder do? This folder should be the name. You should use the name. This folder. See this folder. This folder right over here. This folder, which contains your vector database, should be in here, because we want to locate that folder where our vectors are present, database specifically. So let's say if you want to use a folder name as maybe like, I don't know, maybe like this. So your PDF, your app.py should be present in this folder and along with your vector database, right? So in this case, I have this folder. I'm just gonna copy its name and I'm just gonna paste it here. Just copy it. Right. Now, what does this go to? This is just a variable to just store our vector data. Now, what does this go to? This is the line. This line opens our folder of Singapore data, right? This opens our vector database, right? Okay, and why do we allow dangerous deserialization? Because we trust our own files. I mean, we can trust our own files. We are the ones who are making them. So then you will just get a vector database. This is all just utility work. I'm sure you will be able to get this code by yourself. Now, let's come to the search engine. What is the search engine? Just fix that. Okay, let's continue. What does this code do? Right? What does this version do? We have just defined a function here as query, and we are just taking the query, right? So what does this actually do? Right? So actually this is the magic. Okay, it looks at the user's question and finds the most relevant paragraph in our database, right? Okay, most relevant. Like if you're asking it for, like if you're asking it for child safety, it would actually search the PDF files or thing you have done, given in the vector database. Okay, so this is actually what this code does, and without this our rank system would be completely useless. Okay, so yeah, now actually you would be able to get this all. And what does this do? Confidence. Now if you have a little bit of knowledge about vectors and coding, you would know that this is a vector file, right? The vector database. So it would give us the distance, how far apart the ideas are. Like if we type how safe is a child, and child safety law is here, so it will just calculate the distance between these two. So we are just converting this distance into a confidence score, and based on that score we are going to evaluate if we want to show that search result or not. Okay, so we are just going to be using this right here. I'm not going to be diving deep into the how this code converts it. Okay, right, this just basically returns all the things that we have got from the search engine. Now when that is done, we feed it a system instruction to, this is very crucially important, otherwise your chatbot could respond to any questions the user asks. Basically it would be like running a chatbot like ChatGPT in your website. So we don't want that. Okay, we want it to just answer very specific questions, like if the users ask other countries unrelated to Singapore, in this file what I have done is I have set a role to be a compressive Singapore expert, and it's allowed to only answer questions related to Singapore, their laws, government, history, infrastructure, tourism and their culture. However, if the user asks unrelated questions like other countries, general coding or life advice, it will just say I'm only programmed to discuss Singapore, right? And I have set a word limit here also, so that it's not that cluttery in our website, and told it to be extremely concise and use 2 to 3 bullet points minimum, right, from the searched content. So if the content is found, so we'll just attaching the document that is found, right, so that the user can know which document corresponds to this. Okay, the last thing, not the last, this fourth one, API route. What does this do? Let me tell you what does this code do, because this is crucially important to talk to our API AI. This creates the URL endpoint. When someone posts a question, the function triggers, right? This is the function, right? And it's just taking the user query, okay? And from here it's just building a prompt, okay? So right, so if the context text in this one right here, if the context is not found, a law that is not found, that is like not there, so I will put this empty and made the source name to be general knowledge, so that when it answers, it is going to be using its general knowledge, okay? And this is to just perform the search to find the best match from the user query, okay? Right, this is very important. It is also very important in implementing that. It is taking the user query and finding the best match. Okay, now we are using a confidence variable here. So if the confidence is greater than or equal to 0.4, gonna give us the context, right, the document, and in the final prompt it is gonna put that context, right, and in the final prompt, this final prompt is the thing that our main AI would be receiving. Okay, so the source name is one thing, our context text this one, okay, and the question itself, the user question. Now the last step, and this is the most exciting step. And what is this code do? What does this do? Actually, we get the API key of Google in the environmental variables and try to set the Gemini this this prompt. Okay, we're going to try to send it to Gemini, and the response it will be creating, right, it's going to be from the model. This you can of course upload a different model. Okay, you can even use Flash Light if you want, so you can even use that one. And the contents we are going to be feeding it, like the prompt we are going to be feeding it, right, is the base instruction set that we have got here, because without this it would be answering all stuff, right? So we want it to be a single coding expert, so we are importing this to base instruction, and then the final prompt that is created here. And after that, I'm just setting the temperature of this AI model to be 0.3. Temperature basically regulates the creativity of the AI, and I'm using max output tokens as 300, as maximum words the AI can print is 300, right? But if this AI fails, like if our API has hit the rate limits, okay, so it would give an error, and we won't have any other AIs to respond. So it would just give an error saying Gemini failed. But what I have done here is I have added 2 more AIs so that it works every time. The second one is our open routers free AI as a backup, right? So I'm just doing the same stuff here also, feeding it the base final instruction and the final prompt, and I'm getting the response, right? Here also I'm getting the response, and I'm converting it to text. Okay, so in here also we are going to do that, and if also OpenAI OpenRouter also fails, right, we are going to be using the Chrome client. And if every one of them fails, we are going to just write system overload, all models are currently busy. And this last line of code, what does this do? It's basically used to host the app, right? And that is it, guys. That is it. That's the whole code. That is it. That's all what you want to be doing in here. So let me run it and show you how well this is. And let me just run it from here. Do note, I have told you how you can make this vector database. So kindly watch that video, otherwise this won't work. This app.py won't work without the database, the RAG especially. AI would work, but the RAG would work. This code, this print function, to show us if the vector database has been loaded. If it has loaded, it will show this, and it is showing us, so it is good. Now how do we ask question to it? For that, I'm going to be using CMD. If you want to implement it in your website, you should watch my other 2 videos on how to do it. This is for a whole series, I made based on video. Watch it. To run it locally, I'm going to be using the call statement. Let me just copy this. I'm not writing that whole code, okay? And in here, you have to write your URL, right? In here, you will get your URL that it is running on this. If you don't want any server, you can just use your local machine as a server. And let's hit enter. This is added so that the function works, our ask function. Gemini, right? Do you remember? as you can see, I've asked what is the history of Singapore Flag People Associations Act 1960. The Singapore a giant observation wheel opened. So this. So as you can see, it is actually very accurate, right? It's actually working pretty fine. So let me show you the website that I implemented it in. So I've implemented it in my this web page. You can also visit it. Okay, so like as you can see from the starting of video, I've shown you this that it's working on here. And how did I do it? I used Hugging Faces to create an backend server, and then I just uploaded all of the app.py and requirements and the folder. Right, these are not needed, so don't worry about these files. These are my previous versions, the previous what I tried, so just left them here. I don't know why I have to just delete those. But anyways, this is actually the code, and as you can see, it is running, and as you can see that it's actually running. See, all logs are present here. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you like it, and I hope you will be able to implement AI and RAG in your page too. Thank you.